Hey, Husker fans, welcome back to the Husker Big Red podcast. I'm Chris Peterson, and this is joining me as always is Danny Gillette. And we're back here on Monday morning after a big Nebraska win over Northwestern. It wasn't pretty, it was 17-9. There definitely were some nervous moments, but the Cornhuskers are, 4-3 now. And Danny, how you feeling about, this football team going forward?
Victory Monday. We haven't had too many of those in past years, so anytime there's a Victory Monday, I'm excited, I'm happy. And I'll just reiterate for all the couch coaches and all the people who are upset at this win, these wins aren't going to be sexy. We're not running a, NFL offense. We don't have the wide receivers to, put up 50 points a game. Just enjoy the ride, enjoy the win, because we haven't had too many of these wins in quite some time. And this is the type of team we're going to get. They're going to grind out wins, play good defense, and run the football. So just enjoy it and don't worry about how they get the wins. Just be thankful that they're able to get the job done, unlike in past years.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to me that people are, complaining that much about these victories. It's like I know it wasn't pretty on Saturday, but previous teams would have found a way to lose that game. You know what I mean? So I mean, 2 weeks in a row they've held, a Big Ten opponent to less than 10 points. I mean, I think that's, pretty sound football. They didn't run the ball as well as I thought they were going to. I do think that they should be giving the ball to Anthony Grant more. I'll just flat out say it,
Yeah.
but um, you know look, it's not perfect, but they won the damn game, and I just
Yeah.
don't understand all the naysayers out there. Like, man, you must live a really sad life if you can't even enjoy a
Yeah.
Nebraska win, for Christ's sake.
Damned if they do, damned if they don't. So just enjoy the win. I don't care how they get it. This is a team that needs to continue to build, and they're doing that in real time. I believe there were, I think it was nine freshmen or sophomores at one point out on offense. I think it was the drive that Coleman scored the touchdown. But let me just say that I do think that there's a blueprint for the future, and they're finding ways to win with different players, not just the veteran groups. So just be happy that they won. I mean, 4-3, first time above 500 since 2019, and so I'm happy. I know it's not pretty, but I'm enjoying this win. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I have no thought of not enjoying it. I mean, I've enjoyed it since Saturday. I think it's crazy to me that people are like
Yeah,
complaining about this in the Illinois
yeah,
win. Just like, man, it's
yeah,
wild. I mean, look, I know it's not. I know it wasn't perfect. But and we can talk about some of the things that weren't great. But this team has taken a lot of positive steps in the right direction, and we're trending up for a bowl game. Nebraska's only a half game out of the Big Ten West right now, so
I know that is
um,
crazy.
would have been nice if Illinois could have, done us a solid and sealed the deal against Wisconsin instead of blowing like a 17-point lead I can't remember what it was. But at any rate, I mean, Nebraska literally controls its own destiny right now. And I know we've got 5 games to go, but they're all winnable. The next one,
Yeah,
starts on Saturday against Purdue. And look, Nebraska's going to have to play better than they did on Saturday to beat Purdue. I mean, there's no question about that. I mean, at least on offense, the defense is playing great. So, but yeah, I don't quite understand. Yeah, the couch quarterbacks, I guess, is what you said, the term you used. But yeah, I don't understand the people that just enjoy life, man. I mean, come on, like we're 4-3. When's the last? When isn't this the first time since like 2016 Nebraska's been 4-3?
2019 was the last time they were above 500, and I remember that season too well. It was actually the first time I started covering this team in full, and it's obviously we know what happened in 2019. Things kind of spiraled down, but I mean, there were a lot of positives from Saturday. Despite it not looking so pretty, and I'll just start off by saying, Tony White deserves a statue, a raise, whatever it takes to keep him here. He was probably the best assistant coaching hire of the offseason, and people were really skeptical about the hire. I mean, I'm pretty sure all the skepticism is gone now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were worried about the 3-3-5 and how it's going to translate. But my thing that I've always liked about Tony White is he uses multiple styles of defense. You can't be just one defense. You can't just have one system and like one one personnel grouping. You have to be, amoebic this day of college football. And, I think Nebraska was clearly behind the times with Eric Shenander. I think Bill Bush did a solid job last year, but they needed like an NFL type of defensive coordinator. And that's what Tony White is. I am worried he's going to leave for the NFL here at some point
Yeah,
or get a head coaching job, but he's doing a great
he'll
job.
deserve it.
So,
So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and in the spirit of that, why don't we get back into what we liked and loathed from this weekend, from this game. And I guess I'll start off. One of the things that I loathed was the play calling on the first two drives of the game, the first two series of the game. I don't like to criticize the play calling, but I just thought Nebraska had a clear advantage up front, and to come out throwing the football instead of running it, I thought was a mistake.
well, this happens almost every single game. I mean, we don't seem to run the football until the second half, and we saw it against even I'm trying to think. Northern Illinois was another game where they pretended like Heinrich Harburg was the second coming of Tom Brady and threw it 75 times, and then they finally realized that hey, we should probably run the football. So, I mean, it seems like Satterfeld loves to kind of start off the game by throwing, and I understand that he wants to establish his style of offense, but we just don't have the horses to do that right now. And you know, he, like I just said, he tends to start off games slowly, and then he, kind of finds his footing and realizes, hey, we should run the football. Um, once the second half begins. But I totally agree with you on that. I think I'm trying to think of one thing I loathed specifically, and there wasn't. I mean. I don't know how to put this. Heinrich Harburg, he's getting us wins. I think his inconsistencies were something I loathed on Saturday. I mean, this game, in particular, I thought, kind of really showed his limitations. He did get the job done, and I do think he should still be the starter because honestly, Nebraska is 4-1 with him under center. But there were times where I thought that he just didn't have what it takes to, move the ball and things like that. And his throwing motion, again, kind of still drives me crazy. So I guess that would be something I loathe. He did get the job done, but it wasn't pretty. And I am almost wondering if maybe a transfer portal quarterback is going to be a top priority this offseason.
Yeah, he started off the game terrible, and like I said, it wasn't. I mean, some of it, yeah, Fedoni should have caught the one pass or whatever,
Yeah,
but
that one of the
I
interceptions wasn't his fault, I don't think.
yeah,
But still.
but yeah, the decision making, isn't great, and then the throwing isn't great either. So I mean, but it was like just when I was, wanted Jeff Sims to go in there, he throws the touchdown pass to Malachi Coleman. So I mean, it's just he's one of those guys that's not always going to look pretty, but for this team right now, I think he's the best option. Yeah, transfer portal quarterback, might be it. But look, I mean, if he can run the football and just, the thing he can't do is turn it over twice. I mean, that he hasn't done that. And he can't do, if he does that on Saturday against Purdue, Nebraska's not going to win. So, that he cannot do that again. And so, I mean, I guess just something I liked, though, is the defense. I mean, starting the game, you get you get two interceptions. Basically, you give the ball to Northwestern twice inside your own 30-yard line, and they only give up 3 points. And I think that right there saved the game, because if you go down 10-0, 14-0, which easily could have happened, that game was over. So, kudos again to the defense. I don't think we can say it enough, but just twice in adversity situations to stop Northwestern, that really, saved the day and allowed the offense to finally get something figured out.
And also, Malcolm Hartzog and Omar Brown had two game-saving tackles on deep plays, and had they not made those tackles, I question if we would have won this game. I mean, that to me showed a ton of effort and a ton of wanting to win. And I remember there was a screen pass that Northwestern had where Isaac Gifford just completely got around the blocks and came up and made the tackle. The defense wanted to win on Saturday. They played like they wanted to win, and their effort showed that they wanted to win. And I think that was definitely noticeable and definitely appreciated. 13 tackles for a loss, 8 sacks. Nash Hutmacher having another strong game. JUCO transfer James Williams getting in on some action too. I thought he looked pretty good. And again, as much as we talk about Tony White, Terrence Knighton also deserves a lot of credit for revitalizing that defensive line, because that was a weakness even last year, and now it's becoming one of the strengths of our defense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you said it. Nash was incredible on Saturday, and but yeah, Isaac Gifford, slowing down
Hmm.
that screenplay, I thought that was the play of the game. I mean, he beat two. There was basically two offensive linemen there, and he
Hmm.
beat both of those guys to make the tackle by himself. And if he doesn't do that, that's at least a 40, 50-yard gain, if not a touchdown. So, and
Yep.
then yeah, Malcolm Hartzog. I mean, Malcolm Hartzog, that was just such great. He got beat. He could have just coasted and let the guy go in for a touchdown, gets him down at the 5, and then he makes the stick on third down to make sure they hold him to a field goal. So it's just those little plays, like that's winning football right there. It's the little things, and Nebraska's doing a lot of the little things right. They're still having too many dumb penalties on offense, and they're still not taking. I don't know why they're so loose with the goddamn ball, though. I mean, that
Yeah, I
is
don't know
really
either.
pissing me off. That's one of the things I really loved. I mean, Harburg, I get the interceptions, but catch the snap, man. I mean, come on, you're a college football quarterback, and I mean, that's both of our starters have done that this year. I mean, there was numerous fumbles. Just that ball security has got to get better, down the stretch, or it's going to be tough to stay in the Big Ten West race, which Nebraska is in it right now. Hate though was the injuries. Billy Kemp, Ethan Piper, two critical guys. I know that there's obviously still the freshman receivers are trying to step up and they plug the holes in the offensive line, but it just seems like, man, every week he got like the
I
walking
know.
wounded out there.
Yeah, and it's bad when the players' families come down, and Billy Kemp comes out of the tent crying, and you never want to see that. So I'm hoping the injury is not too serious. That could have just been out of frustration, but man, you hate to see that. And people can complain about the strength and conditioning, and things like that, but I also wonder if it's turf. Um, and I know a lot of people who are against turf. I know a lot of former players who used to play on my college football team that are against turf, and they prefer grass. So I wonder if that's something to wonder about as well. But in any event, it just stinks because it is giving others opportunities to step up and play. But man, people said, "Oh, put Jeff Sims in because Harburg is struggling and things like that." But I don't know, honestly, if Sims would make that much of a difference just due to the lack of personnel, both on the line and in the wide receiver room. I mean, it would be tough for anybody back there to go, try to, execute drives and things like that. So, I mean, just the injuries on the offensive personnel are, it's just crazy right now, and it would be difficult for any quarterback.
Yeah, it's not easy, but at least they have been making it work. I mean, Emmett Johnson had a nice game on Saturday. Harburg was able to do some stuff running. I mean, Malachi made
Mm.
the big play. So they're going to have to figure some more stuff out though, and yeah, it'll be interesting. I think that my thing with this offense is they need to figure out a way to score like 20 points, because I think the defense, most weeks is going to have a pretty good shot of keeping the team below 20. I mean, that's basically the formula. Run the football, get the clock rolling, get it to the fourth quarter, and hopefully the defense can keep them under 20, and just find a way to create a big run or two. Because I mean, the thing about Heinrich is, like, he's not great, but he picked up a 3rd and 7. He picked up a 3rd and 13 running the ball. He ran for a touchdown.
Yeah.
He muscled that damn thing in the end zone, and like, yeah, it wasn't pretty, but Northwestern didn't get a touchdown. And they had more red zone opportunities than Nebraska did. So I mean, there is something to say for that.
And I will say on that point, there were no holding penalties on those third and long conversions, and that's huge too. I mean, we've seen plays get called back because of holding, and not having penalties on those third and long conversions were huge. And I guess you just joggled my mind about something I really liked was Emmett Johnson. I mean, you talk about injuries, the running back room has been decimated. Johnson has stepped up and played at a high level, in my opinion, and I would love to see more of him. Even when the running back room gets healthy, I think he's a very, decisive runner. He runs quickly. He has great athleticism, and you know, again, for all the injuries which we never like to see, and are unfortunate, it's giving others opportunities to step up, and Johnson is making the most of it.
And I guess just to rope that into final thing that I'll like, my final thing is just, yeah, all the young guys stepping up. I mean, Malachi Coleman on offense and defensively. I mean, Cameron Leonard was spectacular on Saturday. Prince William
Yeah.
had like 7 tackles, a tackle for a loss, and a sack. James Williams, like you mentioned, just a bunch of guys that are really coming in and stepping up. Emmett Johnson. I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
young guys that are stepping in right away and playing. And I think that's a really good sign, going forward, because like we've talked about, Nebraska's recruited a lot of blue chip players, but they didn't play like blue chips. And some of these guys, they're showing their talent early. And I mean, I think like I'm really excited to see, the development of, the Malachi Coleman's and like Cameron Leonard, man, Prince William
Yeah.
Emelian. Like
Yeah.
Nebraska's needed big time pass rushers, and Matt Rule went out his very first year in Terrence Knight too. They went out their very first signing class, and they got two guys that look like they're going to be. I mean, maybe not first team All Big Ten, but they have that potential, and they're definitely going to be like some second, third All Big Ten type selections, which is huge at that position.
Absolutely, and they're freshmen. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's gonna be exciting to watch. If they stay for the next 2 years or so. But also, I think it shows. This coaching staff will play players if they play well, and they're not just gonna sit on the bench and be left there to rot. They're gonna play. If you ball out in practice or you ball out over the course of the next couple weeks, you're going to get an opportunity to play. And I think that's a great recruiting tool because, injuries or not, these freshmen are really stepping up and, you know, playing freshmen, and freshmen making an impact. I'm not going to bash the previous staff too much, but that wasn't something that the previous staff did. The previous staff didn't play a lot of freshmen. And again, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but that's just to say that this coaching staff is completely different and they're going to put the best players on the field. And I think that is definitely going to help with continued success in recruiting.
I just think that they reward guys that, whether you're a freshman or a red, they just play the best players. And I think that it's a true, more of a meritocracy. And, the guys that, are doing good work in practice are getting on the field and they're making plays and they're keeping them out there. So I think that, from Rule on down, I think that it's a great kind of philosophy because it really embraces that competitive nature and the best players should play. So I guess, just shifting towards our final thoughts here, what are some of your final takeaways from this Northwestern victory?
Just win, baby. This team is not going to, score, like I said, 75 points, but they're going to win. They're going to find ways to win, and they're learning how to win. They're learning how to win, and I think that's a skill for a rebuilding program that is crucial. They know they're starting to figure out how to win football games. I mean, if only we had this skill in 2021, things may have been different, but I think it's important to learn how to win. You know what I mean? And I don't think previous teams have had that. So, learning how to win and battling through adversity, I mean, this team is kind of getting an idea of, how to do that. And with this team being as young as it is, that can only mean good things for the future.
And yeah, I mean, learning how to win and just I don't think that there's no Big Ten win that you can just scoff at. I think people that
No.
aren't happy over these wins. They're not appreciating how tough it is to win in the Big Ten conference. And I'm just having a lot of fun. My final takeaway is I'm just having a lot of fun watching this defense play. I know
Yep.
the offense has been a lot of work, but the defense is like really something to be proud of. And the black, like there's no like hesitation calling these guys black shirts. Like these guys are real black
Yep.
shirts, and this is the best defense we've seen in a long time. So stoked about that. And really, just the last thing I want to touch about volleyball. I don't know if you did you catch the match
I
on
did.
Saturday night?
I I
Man,
I I did. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. I should watch more.
yeah, it is crazy. It was such a fun match, and it was really intense and. Just I loved seeing the win at the end and John Cook with the challenge, and I guess it was Bergen Riley that actually told him the challenge, the freshman. So, yeah, just a
Good.
great
Really
moment.
good.
Yeah, she is really good. They're all, I mean, and Harper Murray, with some big time kills in the fifth set. That Wisconsin team's tough, and I have a feeling
They
that
are.
we'll see them again in the national championship match. That's my prediction.
Yeah, the place was absolutely electric too. Like that was a great atmosphere to play in, and it just brings home the fact that Husker fans will get up for their sports, and we saw that this year at the beginning of the year with the volleyball match in Memorial Stadium, and Saturday the football stadium was rocking, and then it was volleyball. The Devaney Center was absolutely electric. So it was really a great atmosphere, and I knew nothing about volleyball whatsoever, but it was a lot of fun to watch. I'm gonna have to brush up some more on volleyball, but you know, uh, I was really impressed by just you know the athleticism of these women, and just how tough they played, and how focused they were, and their hand-eye coordination. I can really put my socks on, and they're like batting a volleyball so high in the air and stuff like that. So I thought it was really cool. I'm gonna watch some more for sure.
Yeah, it's a great sport. I think that it's trending up. I wish that I know that there is like a professional league and Nebraska's going to have a team, but I really wish there was like a true like WNBA for volleyball because it's a spectacular sport. And yeah, I mean, if people watch men play it, I mean, it would be fun. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it, but anyway, we're going to be ranked number 1 today, so that's going to be awesome. So we'll wrap up there, you guys, but make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, so you don't miss any of our content. Get into the comments section, hit the like button, and as always, go Big Red.
Go Big Red.